Okay guys, I'm back at the shop. It's now Tuesday evening and I just took the tank off to check the carburetors, because as you saw on the video, the bike had a little stumble and it backfired, and it seemed to run a little rich. And also one of the carburetors overflowed, or at least it was leaking. So I decided to take the carburetors back off. And I also discovered that the airbox wasn't sealing properly around the carburetor, which is a common issue. And to sort that out, I found this STL file, 3D print file, to make some rings to put on the carburetors here. I'll show you. Put the rings on here, or I'm going to glue them to that, so the rubber on the airbox has something more to grip to. I did my very best to try to fit this, the rubber on the airbox. But as soon as I stopped pressing on it, even after having tightened the clamp, it just fell off. And I could see from the pattern on the rubber that it probably has been like this for years. So it hasn't been sealing properly. And also on the video I got from the last owner, I could hear it popping a little in the exhaust at idle. I'm not sure that this is what's causing it, but I also discovered that it looks like the carbs are out of sync. I can see it with my bare eye, because on this throttle body there is no gap nowhere, but on this one, it's probably hard to see in the video, you can see that there is a slight gap on top there. I can see the little holes. So it is out of sync probably, or maybe not. Maybe it has to be that way to be synced, but I'm going to make a temporary sync gauge with some hoses and some fluid in the hose. I've seen guys do that because I don't have synchronizing tools. So I'm going to try to do that, probably in the weekend, because I'm still waiting for the carburetor rebuild kit, because I guess either the float wasn't sealing or maybe the gasket around the float chamber. So I also discovered that this hose here, maybe on the other side, it's also a vacuum hose. It's in bad state. And right now I'm going to fit the new regulator and remove these connectors here and solder them. So that's the status so far. Engine starts very easy, so that's a good sign. And my plan is still to get this bike done till the next weekend. I hope so. So I better get into it. So my bike came with a new regulator, so I'm just going to replace it as a precaution. You can see that the OEM connector has been removed and replaced by these type of connectors, but that's basically nothing better than the OEM connector, because there are still two surfaces that can corrode. So I'm doing the classic XRV modification or repair by soldering these cables together and then adding some heat shrink. First you have to tin the wires, and then you just hold them together like this and make sure that both of them are enough heated and that the tin really melts, and then you are done. I also always make sure that there are no pointy tips on the solder that can wear through the heat shrink. I'm doing the same with the cables for the fuel pump. I took the connector and the cable from the stock pump and then just soldered it to the new pump. I'm doing a time lapse now. I hope you guys are okay with that. One of the reasons for that is that I can listen to whatever music I want without getting any copyright issues from YouTube when I upload the video. Sounds stupid, but that's the way it is. The right music adds to the whole wrenching enjoyment. Fitting the Dunlop Trailmax Missions was really tough. It's the stiffest tires I have ever fitted, just so you know. I had to take the front tire off again because I couldn't get the bead to seat perfectly. I turned the tire on the rim and I was able to get it close to perfect. What a struggle. So here's a way to get the inner race off the triple clamp. I just cut a groove in it with a grinder and then I use a chisel to break the bearing. The bearing is made out of a really hard metal, so when you have a little groove in it, it's pretty easy to just make a crack in it with a chisel. And then you can basically just slide it off. I do it like this also on the inner race on cars, for example. And you can see I'm also using the claw from the vise to protect the threads of the axle while I'm hammering. So I need to rivet the new chain, which is actually very easy when you got this tool. So first you press on the master link, and I always measure the width of the chain on other places so that I don't press the master link too far in. And then you need to rivet the pins themselves, and this can take quite some force. And I also use a caliper to measure how much wider they become when I rivet them. So just pay attention to it and don't crack them. A broken chain can be very dangerous, so. It's now 7 weeks since I picked up this bike. I haven't regretted it a second. It has actually been one of my all-time favorite wrenching projects. I really love these old Africa Twins. It's just something about them. I have enjoyed every moment of this, and when you work as a mechanic like I do and get to experience the good old wrenching pleasure that sometimes is a little gone, it's just the best feeling. Thank you, Africa Twin. Okay guys, I'm done with the bike. This is the first test ride, and since I live in the military area, I can't start filming from my house. So I just ridden around 10 kilometers and everything seems to be working just fine. So I'm going to ride out to my home place and just enjoy this day of beautiful weather. It's late in the afternoon now, so sun will go down soon, and yeah. So I have been working a lot on this bike in the last couple of weeks, and now it's done. It's a fantastic feeling. I have done everything except rebuilt brake calipers. I do have the parts, so I will probably do that in the weekend. In the beginning the front brake was kind of stuck a little on, but I just pushed the pistons back in the caliper and pushed them in and out a little, and then they seemed to loosen up. So for a little test ride it's okay. I have been working a little on the carburetors, so now I think they are good. I did a kind of manual synchronization with some hoses and some fluid, but I have ordered some decent gauges now for measuring the vacuum, so that I will get it more accurate, I think. I also ordered an angled screwdriver to adjust the pilot jets, because I tend to burn my fingers when I try to without it. So I also bought a new windshield, a taller touring screen, but look at this beautiful view. But it actually cracked when I was when I was trying to install the rubber grommets inside of it. Actually, it was Sondre doing that. No worries, Sondre. So I have a new one ordered from Poland, I think it was. So this windshield here is way too low. I have a lot of wind buffeting in my helmet. I did remove the little spoiler on it because I hate that, but I know now I know why it was there. I might have to loosen the steering stem bearing a little. Sondre, you were right, because it's maybe a little too tight. So the winter is basically over. It never really came. I haven't been on one decent ride with my snowmobile, so that sucks. So that's why I'm starting to use the bike earlier. It's around 4 degrees now, or it was when I left home. Wow, look at this beautiful view. I guess that must be okay for the first ride on this bike. Who knows? Maybe I will ride it around the world. We'll see. One thing I've noticed is that I think it vibrates a little more than my other bike. It might be just a combination of a little louder exhaust and it has some rally foot pegs without the rubber cushion, so might have something to do with that. And also these turn signals, I did replace them, and they are much softer in the rubber, so they tend to vibrate much more. So, Myklebostad, my home place. So this is the first vlog of 2026. I just hope all the gear works and everything. My clutch cable is not in a good shape, so I hope it won't break off while I'm out here. There's a sailboat. I think it's some kind of ski and sail stuff, probably, because I saw some ski gear. Oh, maybe the front brake is dragging a little. Not much snow to ski on though. That's quite a nice shadow. Cool. So I'm sitting here down at the harbor. This is one of my favorite local go-to places, if that's something I can say, or you can say. And I'm really enjoying watching this beautiful bike. Yes, I do think it's really nice. I love it in those colors. It's my absolute favorite. Bike seems to run perfect. So I'm actually very happy. So what a beautiful afternoon. Really nice. So I'm going to ride till the end of the road to the beach. That's actually where I filmed the start of the last XRV film when I rode to the North Cape. So yeah. In a few days it's Easter, and I have a little plan of riding to Svolvær, the capital of Lofoten, and spend the night at a friend's mini house out there in Kabelvåg actually. So that will be a little test of the bike, but I'm not sure if the weather will allow it, because it's going to rain and it's going to be close to 0 degrees, so might be scary, it might be icy. So I'll just have to wait and see. But I will try to test it locally in between the rain showers if I don't get to ride to Kabelvåg or Lofoten. So yeah. I have to say that when I look at the mountains here, I really miss being able to ride my snowmobile. Even though this is beautiful, I do really miss being able to ride up there with the snowmobile, because it's also gorgeous. But times are changing. Well, my hands are getting cold, so I better get back on the bike and turn on the heated grips that actually worked very well. So let's do a little performance test here. So this is where I grew up. This is my dad's old farm, and I grew up in this house up on the hill here. At this time of year there should be ice here. I used to go fishing here in the lake when I was younger. I still can, but I rarely do. I kind of like that this bike isn't mint cosmetically, because then it makes it much harder to use. I'm sure all of you guys know what I'm talking about. On these roads I learned to ride my first moped. It's very wet. So we are soon actually coming to a little interesting place. We're going to pass the house of my friend's grandfathers or granddads or whatever it's called. And just from this point here is one of the first time I can, or at least so that I can remember, when I saw an Africa Twin, because my friend's aunt had ridden all the way from Switzerland and up to northern Norway, and the bike was parked just behind this house here, and I was playing up here and I saw the bike standing outside of this house here. So that's a memory I have, and I kind of always have wanted a bike like that, the Africa Twin. And now I have two, actually three, so that's cool. It's so cool to have a bike that you can ride wherever you want, basically. So I think I'm going to end this video here, and once again I'm so thankful for all of you who have been watching this series, liking and subscribing, and yeah, I really appreciate it, and I really look forward to making more videos. It really motivates me, so thank you so much. So until next time, we are out.